welcome back to the fun. Got parts all over the place. Hello, everybody. I don't know what time it is. Not important. We're talking about Pearl today. Pearl has constantly changed from the day that I've got it. Almost immediately. I got a couple flights with it. Pearl started off, I think it was the Meteor 65X from Beta FPV, something like that. It was a 65mm whoop, the smallest HD whoop that you could buy. It had the caddx / Beta FPV baby turtle in it, and you get great HD after the fact footage, but I wanted something different out of the FPV aspect of it, and I kind of wanted to lighten the weight of this to put different HD on it. So what I ended up doing was looking up the specs or the pinout of the board, which was kind of a pain in the ass to find, so I could unsolder the 4 wires from it and figure out what they were, so I could run the ant that I had in Splat. This is pretty much what's left of Splat. I don't know what I did with that. There's the camera. There's the stack. So I'm gonna do something different with that. I think I'm gonna sell off some of the parts and do other things with it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these motors yet. I'm gonna continue to test this. So it had 0802 motors on it, which is standard for a whoop. And when I tried to put an HD camera on it a year or so ago, I got flight footage out of it, and I had to fly a couple packs because the shitty sort of flight time with it already was like 2 minutes 20 seconds almost on the dot, no matter if I was flying fast, hard, windy, calm, it didn't matter. And very disappointed with it. As soon as I slapped the HD camera on the extra weight and stress, I was getting about a minute, which sucked even more. So before I had the thought of putting this back on, I had swapped out the 0802s and put 1103 8000 kV Xing or Zing, basically the baby tiny versions of these. These are 1105s. These are awesome motors. Anyway, so I went from 2 minutes 20 seconds consecutive on the dot to well over 8 minutes, and that was again basically flying more aggressive, a little bit of freestyle, elevation changes where you're a lot on the throttle, and then calm flying, especially indoors, and it was within 30 seconds of each other, no matter what I did. So super happy with how this turned out. With the HD camera inside and the way it's basically hard mounted to the body, and there's not a lot of room to and again, I don't have a 3D printer, so I can't get creative and make a really soft mounted thing for it. It suffered. In 75mm small quads, it's tough, especially when you're trying to fly slow and it's a little windy. You get some jello, you get some vibrations. There's just a tiny little thing in the air. And again, I may tweak the tune or try to tweak the tune to get that a little bit better, but with this one, it's a little bit of a struggle for me. Just trying to, it flies really great. I love how it flies, but when the wind picks up, it's fighting itself a little bit, and that might be because it's overtuned or it's undertuned. I got to figure that out. So I'm going to bring the D gain down and the I gain down and see what happens, and then slowly start bringing it back up if that be the case, or just drop the D gain and see what happens so it stops. The PID loop slows down a little bit. Anyway, so what I did was I took that camera out. I figured out the pinout for it. So I lost some weight. I wish I weighed that to see what the difference was. And I just put the ant that was in Splat on there. And just did a quick test flight. Everything was great. No problem with the reception. And then it came down to, all right, the whole purpose of doing that was so I could put the Insta 2 on it. So before I got all hardcore with it, I wanted to just fly it and see how it handled the flight time, and it was decently breezy out that night. So I got 6+ minutes, I think. It was right around there with the Insta on it, physically not on, just weight. And I did have it pushed a little more forward in that test than I do now, and I used a different mount. Battery-wise, I took the strap off this thing and put my favorite hardcore, let me see if I have a picture of it. I wish I saved the container. It's 3M. It comes in cool squares, 3M, dual lock. This is the best stuff. This is what you should put on your big quads for batteries. It literally takes only 1 square per battery and quad, and once it locks into place, I ripped a strap off flying one of the 5-inch quads before, and all that was holding it on was this thing. And this, once it clicks and locks, it ain't going anywhere. It would take one hell of a hit. Anyway, so what I did was I put one on here. I played with the battery, so I had room to move because I have 2 different style batteries. I got the small candy bar style, and then I got the flatter wafer style 650 race day quads battery. And like I said, it gives me a little bit of option based on which battery to push back and forward, and it allows me to keep the center of gravity with this thing, because obviously it's centered without the camera in it, and then obviously it puts more weight towards the front, so I can lean the battery back farther. And once it clicks on, it ain't going anywhere. And for the style flying that I'm really doing with this thing, I don't need the strap. It's not going anywhere. Even if it breaks off, it's not going far, so I'm not worried. But it flew great. I'm gonna tweak the tune just a little bit more after I dial it in, I think, like I said, and get it really locked in. Like I said, this really kind of flies like a Cadillac, where it's nice and sway and flow. I might lock that in just a little bit more, because the Insta does make up, you know, for some of those hard turns where it smooths them out just a bit, which is cool. So I shrunk down all the components and put a dab of glue on all the wires that are in there, just so they don't wiggle around. And I did this, it's hard to see, but there's rubber bands inside of there crisscrossing all of the standoffs. And that is because the standoffs, other than being, you know, bolted down through, so to speak, with a standoff on this end and the bolt head through here, they have room to wiggle back and forth. It's just, you can't eliminate that at all. So I tightened them to what I could, and then these rubber bands are constantly pulling in both directions, and that kind of keeps everything in place. And it works really good. I can't complain. It's a small, tiny little form factor, and this thing can go in places that others can't. I would have loved to, you know, if I'm daydreaming, I would have loved to put the HD camera down in front and make a different mount on top to lower the whole profile, because this thing can shoot through some really tight gaps that other quads can't. But I think I'll be okay with this. This will work good. So ballpark, it's like, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can put you down. You're gonna stay? No. Let's grab a tape. We're like 2.5 inches, almost to the T. Yeah. So I mean, that's a decent profile. So I'll live with it. It'll be fun to take this up into the trees. It also will be really hard to recover because it's so damn small. But this thing would be fun indoors. I got some projects and places I'm working on going to talk to make some videos to fly. I like advertising for places that are around here. Like I did Collins Farm. You know, I've grown up going there. So it was really cool to fly there and look forward to going back. But there's some other places that I've come across where I'd love to just advertise for them for free, so I get a chance to fly there and have some fun. So that's on the agenda. But I got a bunch of stuff to clean up, organize, and put away. Holiday weekend coming up. I can't wait. Can't wait to get some flying in. But stay tuned. Let me know what you think about Pearl, or any suggestions, ideas. I'd love to tell you where I got this frame from, but it's no longer available. I wish I picked up a second one just to have as backup, but it did come from Tomo Quads. I don't even remember the name of it, but it's like it's a version of the Owl that you can get everywhere, but this is a lot smaller. Very simplistic, light, and fun frame. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Peace.